Hey everybody, so I thought I'd talk a little bit more about the diminished scale and show you a couple of really useful fingerings for it just to get you going. So let's do it in C, and when I say the diminished scale, we're doing the half whole step version. That means with the C root, the next step in the scale will be a half step above. And it'll follow a symmetrical pattern of half whole, half whole. So here we go. Starting on C, C. Now, we can play this like this. Check it out. C, C sharp or D flat, D sharp or E flat, E, F sharp or G flat, G, A, B flat or A sharp up to C. Now, on the way back down, let's say the notes C, B flat, A, G, F sharp or G flat, E, E flat, D flat or C sharp, C. Now, because you're going to get the same letter name repeating, because it's got 8 steps in it, this scale, before you hit the octave. It's up to you how you think of it, and it's dependent on which particular diminished scale. This is a cool thing. There are only really 3 separate diminished scales because there are 4 contained within that single scale because it's symmetrical. You have C diminished, and the next scale that shares all the same notes is E flat diminished, half whole. Then F sharp or G flat, same thing, half whole. And sure enough, up in minor third, A, half whole diminished. Now, depending on which root you're starting on, you may find it simple to think, okay, if I'm in G flat, half whole diminished, when I'm playing on a G flat 7, flat 9, or sharp 9, you'll probably think of this with more flats and so on. You see what I mean? Now, also, if you think of it in terms of chromatically without an actual center of the key, but you're going, okay, this is the diminished line, often ascending you can think of sharps, C, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G, A sharp to C. But I often think of it in relation to the chord I'm on. Let me show you what I mean. If I'm playing a C7 sharp 9, all right, and I use this half whole diminished, which is perfect over a sharp 9 too. That, I think like this, C, D flat, because it's a flat 9, right? Sharp 9, D sharp or E flat, right? E, F sharp, that's sharp 11, so I don't think of it as a G flat. I think of it as a sharp 11, an F sharp in relation to my C root, right? Then G, A, B flat, and C, and I can see the arpeggio within that. C, E, G, B flat, C, and that sharp 9, the E flat on the top, or D sharp, you know? So, think of this any way you like at this point in time to help you get through it, because I just want you to start learning the structure. But it's a really cool scale to get into. Now, the fingering idea, you can use your first finger or your fourth to shift. Let's do the fourth to start with. Watch this. C, D flat, E, or C, C sharp, D sharp, E, right? And notice I slide on my pinky. Now the same pattern starting on the F sharp here. I go 1, 2, 4, slide, 1, 2, 4, slide, 1. That actually gets me up to here to my first finger on the root again. If you had a high C above your G, you could keep going with a symmetrical shape. And you'd be up here on an F sharp, and you could go F sharp, G, A, B flat, all the way like that. It's kind of nice. See what I mean? Symmetrical scale gives you these symmetrical patterns. It's very easy to run up and down the neck. So the next thing to do, once you've done that, and you've got to use your first on the slide, watch. 1, 1, 3, 4, 1, 1, 3, 4, 1, 1, 3, 4. Come back down. 4, 3, 1, 1, 4, 3, 1, 1, 4, 3, 1, 1. But think of the notes. Don't just do a digital pattern. We use the pattern to help us traverse the neck. But don't just blindly play it. Really think of the notes you're playing, because that's where you're going to start to see these common notes. So if I see an E flat 7 sharp 9, I know I can still use that C half whole diminished. It's the same notes. It's the same scale, just starting on an E flat, all right? So what you have a different diminished scale, starting with a C root, half whole diminished, starting with a D flat or C sharp root, half whole diminished, starting with a D root, half whole diminished. Now when you hit the E flat or D sharp, boom, you're back to using the same notes, the same DNA from your C half whole diminished. So it's not that difficult once you get it under your hand. You see how symmetrical it is, right? So that pattern, either shifting with your pinky or your first finger, or fourth, and I still use the first finger on the descent, but on the ascent I'm using the fourth there. I do it here. Watch this. It's quite easy here, see? Now the first finger, watch. First. I generally use the first to slide down on almost every scale, but on the ascent, first finger or the fourth. Here's pinky, right, and then first. I like this system because it gets you beyond the octave very easily. If that was over a C7 sharp 9, and I wanted just a scalar run up here. See what I mean? I'm all the way up to my B flat there. Very easily. So there's a little intro for you on the half whole diminished scale. Fantastic. That's C half whole diminished, perfect on a C7 sharp 9, A7 sharp 9, F sharp, or E flat, right? Sharp 9. And also same roots, but with a flat 9, dominant with a flat 9, it's also perfect too. But people often forget the sharp 9, so you can blues out on the sharp 9. But it's also kind of cool when you start playing that. That's diminished stuff. So you mix the two with some bluesy thing. Wow, it's a great sound.